postgraduate diploma in transport administration and planning, University of Salford in Manchester, UK, diploma in advanced transport management, University of London, UK, member of the Institute of Physical Distribution Management, MIPDM, UK, the first Rhodesian to qualify as a member of the Institute of Transport Administration, MITA, Southampton, UK, member of the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, Logistics, MCILT, Refining London Refineries, UK, worked for NRZ as a traffic officer, National Breweries Southern Region as the first black transport manager, operations manager for inland transport, lecturer and examiner at Blawayo Folly, also being the team which introduced purchasing and supply in 1986 at the Folly, director of training industrial management training panel, author and publisher of Transport Distribution and Industry magazine. Transport experience runs back to the 70s in the Rhodesia. This is quite a profile. I think you can acknowledge that. He is now retired. Ladies and gentlemen, let me call upon Mr. Bruce Gregory Mutengwa to come and present on transport, warehousing and logistics risk. Mr. Mutengwa.
I seem to talk a lot, but because of the time factor, I ended up writing first few chapters so that I don't explain. I will explain later as we go on. And I thought I was going to be the first one to introduce the subject here. As you can see, I said welcome to this gathering, and we have got a name for it already, but I suggest and I would ask you to allow me to say I also add in a word, Ideas Festival, because it's bringing in ideas from other people. Don't rub your name or the name, the existing name, but I also say for the purposes of our being in Bloy, I think I should call it Ideas Festival. You know, I've been in Bloy for quite a long time. I think most of you have worked with. If I did work, I must have worked with your grandfathers, not your fathers. Because I go back to the late 60s working. And if I did really work with your father, he must be about 60 years. But I'm well above that. To my surprise, if my father was still alive, he would still call me son. I don't know why. Right. I'd say Bulawayo by that time was a hub of production in Southern Africa. Everything was done in Vermont. And talk of furniture, talk of you talk of furniture, you talk of anything which was distributed. It was from Bulawayo up. It was Bulawayo's catering for Southern Africa and East Africa. And as for locomotive spares, we're going as far as Egypt. That was Belmont. And that was F. Iselis, if anybody knows F. Iselis. And Resco, it was called, it's now called, not Resco, it's called Zesco. It was called, this one of Philip Chayanga. Zeko. It was actually doing the all space for locomotives. So we are actually talking of transport distribution and transport and distribution. Don't mix up the two. The two are very different. Transport distribution is different from transport and distribution. I think some of you might say they seem to be the same. Do they? Transport and distribution has something to do with the movement of goods A to B. But transport distribution is we're talking of modal split within a nation, so that we're talking of the distribution of the transport network within a nation. So we are not talking about that. We're talking of transport and distribution. I have been persuaded to be in the supply chain management through the transport side. My entry point was transport was not really purchasing and supply. So this is why I'm talking of transport and distribution. And the transport and distribution we're talking about is the movement of commodities. And when we talk of the movement of these commodities, we are creating the time, no, not time, but let's say place and utility for the customer. It's clear, is it? Right. So, I said it's the former, we're talking about the former, which is also it has got a link. The chain, they say supply chain. Supply chain, as I once said to some my students when I used to be a teacher, I used to say, really, the strength of any chain is measured by its weakest point. So that can apply again to the supply chain management. Every link has got its own strength and weaknesses, including risks. Because we are going to talk of risks. The ability of a logistics system to satisfy a customer can also be measured through the efficiency of its intermediaries. One weak point within a system can affect the result of an intended outcome of customer satisfaction. Right? It can be argued that normally the company which produces goods and services has no business to be in business if it does not satisfy customers. I think we should agree. Every product or whatever you are doing must satisfy the customer. It doesn't matter what, but the customer must be satisfied. So customer service can be measured by productive product efficiency, technical, as well as cost efficiency. We don't have to explain that really. So cost and revenue are important indicators, obviously, of productivity, which are more than technical relationships between input and output, which calculated as the lost time divided by total time. That actually equals to lost time ratio, which shows us how efficient the organization is doing. I'm trying to be as simple as possible so that we are in the same page or within the same page. If there is a problem, I think you note down, then you ask questions after we have finished, because I've just done it. I've been told that I've got 1 hour to do it, is it? Or less than an hour?
It's now less.
Less.
It's now less.
Right. So I've just gone through this. Okay. Right. So I said, can you push up? So performance and nature of movement, which may be expressed in terms of origin, route of movement, destination, or method by which the movement is being achieved. That is specification of how a product is moved. Such as, we normally say, store high in transit, and then that's why we got the word shit. They always say shit, there is no word like shit, but it was a time when there was a shipment of guano. Guano was droppings of birds in Namibia. They used to make a very good fertilizer. So shipping them from Namibia to the Western world, they used to say, store it high. Because if you didn't store it high, definitely it had problems. So the reason was for this could be that the product may have high levels of evaporation, posing a danger to other goods or environment around it. So they used to keep it high in transit. When I say that, those who are acquainted with shipping understand what I mean high intracity. Right. On the other hand, technically, the features of a carrying unit, for example, on the other hand, if technically the features of a carrying unit, for example, do not comply with the perceived standards, then there is a risk of delivery discrepancies as well. Risks are common in all business undertakings. Managers must therefore acquaint themselves with some operational risks and come up with remedial action to mitigate them. There could be a number of definitions for risk, but the one which I think is simple for everybody is really, we take it as a danger which may happen, but not something which must happen. I think we've got experts in that, but who can actually help me on that one? But that's how I take it. But it is something which can happen, but it doesn't have to happen. So goes Murphy's Law, which says what is likely to happen will happen, and if it doesn't happen now, it will eventually happen. Definitely it happens. So be prepared for any eventualities and the likely impediments. These eventualities are also known as uncertainties, which may occur in the operating system. Right. Anything which is likely to happen in an operating system, especially when we talk of movement of goods, will affect the customer. The level of service to the customer will be affected. If you can't deliver today, and the customer needed it yesterday, obviously there is a problem. So we say delivery performance is a function of dependable transport. Then I used logistics. Logistics involves a number of things, but when I say transport, it means the movement part of it, and the customer satisfaction is also an art of methodically employing the correct application within the supply chain to execute a designed goal. A goal, I think you know, goals are normally, people must understand that you might have the same goal, but you find that the goals are always within the company charter. But then you find that, hey, after the goal, there is a discrepancy on whatever the motive is about that goal. What the reason why, what the explanation to this is, we might all, or we all need money, but we all need money, but what we need money for is different. It will never be the same as yours. Your need. I need money to purchase fuel. Someone needs money. Money, we need it. Someone needs it for school fees. The other one needs it for something else. So this is why I say we must have a goal, and then when we reach a certain goal, let's work together to see whether that goal is achieved in a common way, such that there are no discrepancies on it. Because the supply chain is so complex with conflicts or challenges in the operation interests in various intermediaries, the result of some technical costs, some technical or cost risks are reflected in its total delivery concept, TDC, right? I came up with an example here which you always find in those in supply chain. You find we have got a functional objective, and then the other side have got an impact on the objective. Right, we say the marketing manager, you say somebody maybe is a marketing manager, he says, right, I want high customer service. What impact does it do on inventory? It pushes up inventories in a warehouse, which means when you've got high inventories in a warehouse, you've got a risk, or you have got some risk of, let's say, shrinkage, breakages, pilfering different from stealing, isn't it? Right? And yeah, well, they can still steal a lot without pilfering. I remember some time when I was with National Breweries, they used to say, when you deliver, and let's say you've got breakages to the drivers, make sure you bring the bottlenecks with leads. Right. To us, we were taking the situation as normal, but those of us, or those of you guys who are based in checking fraud, as they say, they discovered that the drivers could buy the empties and break the empties and put the leads on. And they say they've lost so many cases. Of course, you've got proof of the lost cases, but it's not that. He bought the old bottles and broke them, then covered them back. Then, when checking, just say, how many are they? You don't even check how strong it was, and so forth. And the authenticity, what is it? I've got no motive with it. Right. So, right, when we get to, we say we have got high inventories, then the customers, what we need is also, we need high customer service. We desire high customer service. But our problem is what? The risk of inventories in the warehouse. Then the total cost there is a risk of it going up. Then we say, right, we've got a transport man. He says, right, transport would say, right, if you need high inventories, it means that you are going to, the lower transport cost was going to push inventories high, and then at the same time, if you are going to talk of lower transport costs, there is a risk of lower customer service, but we still desire a lower total cost. Then lower warehouse costs, we desire it definitely. It means we have got lower inventories, but a risk on customer service, but we still desire the total less reduced cost. And on reduced inventories, it means our inventories are desired to be lower, but the risk of customer service is lower, and we desire less cost. Then we have got fast deliveries. It means our inventories are high, we desire high customer service, and we desire, unfortunately, we don't desire the high total cost. Then reduced labor, we have got high inventories, and then we risk the level of customer service, and we have got the lower transport and the total cost. So our total desired results is really we need lower inventory costs, we need high customer service, we need total cost down. So if we were to look at those, can you push it a little bit up? If we are going to look at those, these are conflicts within operational areas within an organization. You find, as you know, I know we have got accountants here, or financial people. Please allow me just to say what my experience was. Don't look at me as someone who doesn't like finance people. Right. What it means is, on this particular situation, the inventory manager may lose because of what? He loses on his bid to keep inventory levels down. The reason being that the stock shrinkage, obsolescence, damages due to double handling, etc. Right? Then B, we've got a marketing manager, or marketing managers. Who? Do we have marketers here? Do we have any? Who is the market? Who is one here? Before I say something, no. Can I, if you allow me, marketing managers will always overestimate a situation. Have we got an economist? Lucky we haven't got. They underestimate. Do you? Oh, sorry. You always, but it's all right because you always underestimate. Because when I go to you, I get to you and ask for something, you always say, why? You always want to know why. An economist. Our marketers are always overestimating. I remember sometime my marketing man, and I was working for National Broads, he had me say, no, we haven't had any. He came to me and said, why do you say you haven't had any? Tell him, just got finished yesterday, you are going to have some more next week. I said, no, say, he said, do you have rain last week? Have you ever had rains last week? So, they always want, even if he doesn't produce, don't produce anything, if you say to a marketing man, let's say you produce hats, then you say, can you also produce shoes? He says, yes. He will never say no. Never. You say, we can make a plan. That's what they always say. Then we always have a financial manager. Whatever he says is very precise, but means nothing to an ordinary person. Why I say that? If you were to take a company and let it be run by a financial manager, you tell him the tire is worn out, he says, no, don't you think he can always go and come back? Definitely, you will definitely say that. No, but it looks all right. You can always come back. You tell the driver he can always come back. Or should you have a problem, he can fall. Meanwhile, the customer is waiting. That's the problem we have with finance people. They always say something very precise, which, when I say precise, I mean, to those who understand finance, it's very precise and meaningful. But to ordinary people, it doesn't make any sense. Right, then you can go up. Right, I said, because of time, just a little bit. Right, I said some uncertainties found in the supply chain and some remedial action to be applied. That is with our example in transport, not in procurement, because I said my entry point into logistics or supply chain was through movement. So we look at the types of uncertainties. We've got natural hazards. Example could be floods, fire, storm, rockfall, static electricity. Then if it is like that, what do you do? Is it insurable? Yes, you can insure. Any remedial action, insure, right? Or B, lay down clear guidelines to staff about behavior in these circumstances. Right? Number two, we've got moral hazards. These are human elements. Well, it has been discussed that is fraud by staging a loss that never occurred. Carelessness, unreasonableness. Is it insured? Well, the insurance people, I think they will tell me better, but I know it can be insurable subject to certain conditions. Do we have the ones insurance and cover insurance here? Yes, is it correct that you help me there? I'm not sure then.
Yes. Risks coming from intentions of people.
Yes.
Or fraud.
Yeah.
Are insurable, but they are covered by the insurance company on wherever important. So, say for example, an employee logistics steals a truckload of goods. The insurance can pay yes on the basis of guaranteeing the fidelity of the employee, but they intend then to cover from the employee.
Well,
that's fidelity guarantee insurance.
Well, then we have got human uncertainty, death of a key staff. What do you do? What do we do? Is it insurable?
Yes, it is again.
To benefit the company?
Yes.
How?
Key main insurance is primarily based on a certain expertise. For example, if you are into engineering, you are running a project on the basis of that engineer, particular engineer, and he dies. Naturally, you lose certain revenues from not fulfilling your contractual obligations. So those costs of not fulfilling your obligations are the ones that are covered by insurance.
You are talking of the cost, not technical. Wow. That's why I started by talking about technical and cost. So that's why I said, I said insurable, but does not at times benefit the company. Then I said on human risk, transfer of employees, of a key staff, non-insurable. If he transfers, well, there's no insurance you can get out of it. Then we said remedial action, train up substitutes with a good staff training program, so that if A happens or A goes away, B comes in. Then we have got another one, which is a human uncertainty, vandalism, theft, pilferage, embezzlements of funds, insurable. The people must be given proper training for executing their tasks without endangering them or other people within that area. The use of intelligent packaging also may reduce pilferages or pilfering. When I say intelligent packaging, I mean during the Second World War, we used to send butter to Malaysia now. And butter could not pass the equator in their papers because there were not many refrigerated trucks by that time or ships. So the idea came up to say, right, why don't we put our margarine in tins, small tins, There are some people who must have seen some stock margarine, written stock margarine tins, but I don't know whether any of you. Anybody who saw margarine which was called stock margarine in cans? Cans, or in small tins? That was okay. That was during our time when we were in Second World War. We wanted to make sure that the army in Malaya was supposed to be was always fed, and they would always get margarine. That's intelligent packaging we're talking about, right? We also said lack of capacity in the owner's premises. Non-insurable. If you lack your capacity of production, you can't insure that. That is a risk, but it's non-insurable. Then be cautious before you embark on whatever project you are doing. Then we've got economic risk. The risk that the conditions of demand may change so that the demand price envisaged is smaller than expected. Right? Both non-insurable. So what do we do? The uncertainty must be borne by the businessman. It's like when most people now, they insure cars, their cars. Do you know that I'm talking about? We haven't got people in the insurance company. Do we have here? Right. There is third party without benefits. You know it? Yeah, you need to and most of the people, I know most of the properties we are running here, or the properties we own, are not really covered by insurance. Very few people have managed to do that. So you're actually running the risk of, should it catch fire, really you have got a problem that you will have to fund yourself on that one. Right? Then technical risk, the risks that the project may fail to prove to be technically more, or prove to be technically more difficult as anticipated. That is non-insurable. You can't insure that one. So careful preparatory work with the built-in safeguards as price and delivery dates. Adequate provision for obsolescence should be there. Then we've got politics. That's where the shippers come in on politics. Perils. They talk of perils, which is Mr. Gentleman, you are in forwarding, is it? Yeah. Risk, okay. Right, when we talk of perils, they cover mostly, and they cover the war, is it?
Some perils, yes. Let me talk about it from the transport sector perspective.
Yes.
When you talk of mode of transport, say marine, the road transport, in the air transport, there are certain clauses that allow you to insure your mode of transport through a war zone. Say, for example, if there's a civil war going on in DRC, but you want to fly over DRC, there has to be a special clause in the insurance policy that allows you to fly over and have insurance at the same time. But what I must say is that clause actually increases your cost of insurance. So you measure, should you have the war insurance clause in your policy, or you choose to go around the war, whichever the case. But say, for example, if the war zone is the destination or the source of what you want to transport, then whichever the case, you have to get the war inclusion clause in your policy.
Right, so I said on that one, risks that the operations may prove politically unpopular, or that pressure from environmental, domestic, or foreign political interference, wars, and riots may render it impossible, then I said mostly non-insurable, but exporters can pay for a war risk premium where all his goods are automatically recovered. That's how I looked at it. Then I said as a remedial, careful cost-benefit analysis, caution in international agreements must be considered. Then I said monetary risk. We've been talking about risks of money, that's the cost of money. Well, what it means is what is the future value of the present money or the present value of the future money, those in accounts or money, in money management. Are we together there? What would be, can you calculate the present value of our future, the future value of our present money, or vice versa? Is it possible? How to do it? I'm not alone here. Right. We leave that. Although I know how to go about it, I'm not there to calculate, but we're talking about the risks. The risks that inflation etc. may adversely affect calculations is non-insurable. Calculations in this preparatory work, use of inflation accounting. Those who are doing accounting, that one I wouldn't try to do it because I know nothing about it. Don't ask me. Please don't ask me. I know nothing about that. Right. Just to explain on our moral hazards, these arise from the nature and behavior of human beings connected with the subject matter. Fraud. Most are staged losses which never occurred, and most insurance companies decline to the proposed risk. Fraud claim as they are usually very high. B, carelessness. Carelessness could be nearly as unsatisfactory as fraud. Insurance companies are not keen again to cover. Then unreasonableness, where damage occurs as a result of unreasonableness, the insurance company may only cover third party, like in motor vehicles. Right. Now, in transport, we've got weighbridge frauds. Do we have people who are running transport here? Do you know the weighbridge frauds? Have you ever come across them? Yeah? Sorry? Right. The worst offenders in weighbridge deceptions is an adequate length of a weighbridge. Have you ever seen a weighbridge whereby a track weighs twice? You will never win with that. Right. That's where the length of a weighbridge is double. I said worst offenders in the weighbridge deception is an inadequate length of a weighbridge, where double weighing is to take place. Remedial action on such a problem is to avoid double weighing on a weighbridge by all means, because you will never be accurate. Never. Then another one is the driver may fit a spare petrol tank which can be filled with water and as he goes in to load. Then what happens is He fills the full, another, I don't know what size could be the petrol tank, could be a long-range tank, and then to be emptied. Well, it should be emptied after it was supposed to, after the weighing and before loading. That is it should be corrected. But he does offload the water before loading, then he will load. He will be inflating the weight of the vehicle. Then the other one is on lorries carrying sideboards and trailer boards, having board tarpaulin over the empty lorry filled with water again to be tipped off before loading. It happens. Carrying old spare wheels, old tarpaulins, and so on. As you go on, because the truck is going to be weighed as it goes into the loading zone, and then it will be weighed as it goes out. There is another problem, right? Remaining in the cab during the weighing of a vehicle, or carrying dogs or family therein about, but all getting out after having loaded. It happens. Then we say, where the driver has weighed his vehicle correctly and wishes to reduce his apparent gross weight, fractionally overlapping the weight bridge. Well, it will be, it's one weight bridge where he doesn't have to go twice, but you overlap it a little bit with these wheels. Then the error that this shows may be too sizable to be avoided, to notice at times. I said where the driver has weighed his vehicle correctly and wishes to reduce his apparent gross weight. Oh, well, I've talked about that one, isn't it? Where a driver is familiar with a short weight bridge, by carefully positioning his vehicle during double weighing, he may induce a false reading which is constantly to his advantage. Right? Where a driver has discharged his load and wishes then to inflate his tail weight, which he can do by filling to capacity his fuel before re-weighing. All those are problems which may be seen at weight bridges. Right, remedial action on weight bridges. Searching points on commercial vehicles. It must be hands-on. How do you search and where do you search? Along the chassis of, member under the body, you might put something very heavy. You might not even see it. Under ropes in compartments or top of the cab, under the driver's seat or under the cab, inside spare wheels. You put something within the spare wheel and then let's say puts chrome, is it chrome? What is that heavy? Not chrome. Some steel in the within the tire, then he closes the tire, then you think it's an empty, it's an empty rim, and yet it weighs, then you will drop it before he weighs it for the second time. Infolded tarpaulins tied under the tailboard or loaded vehicles, or under or inside the skids at the back. Right. The following are examples Can you? Right. The following are that's precautions against hijacking. You always have a probability of truck hijacking. Then I said the following are some of examples of ways by which thieves can hijack a truck. Thieves can remove a rear vehicle number plate while it is stationary somewhere, and later they will follow the truck, and then they will definitely raise it to the driver to show him that he has dropped his number plate. Then, should he stop, they will actually hijack the truck. So, if the driver is told properly, don't stop, you can always buy another number plate. Right. Hitchhikers, female passengers are a great danger of all. Sorry, I'm not. Now, get me properly. I'm not saying female drivers are hijackers. No. What I merely say, I don't know why people or men would always have a passion for giving a lady a lift. Ladies will never give you a lift. No matter what, even if you helped him at a breakdown, she had a breakdown and help her, going the same way, say, thank you, Baba, see you tomorrow. No, not many. Not many ladies do that. Yes, you might. But then here I'm saying, female passengers are greatest danger. These may be found to be frequenters of a transport cafe or cafes and find it easy to persuade a weak driver to pull off a lay-by. She will have joined you, and she knows at Shangani there are people whom I want to take over the load. Then she will say, please, can you stop here? I want to, maybe for a recess or something. Then it could be that when you pull off, there could be some accomplices there and are lying wait. Then remedy to this is not to carry any passenger at all. It might be bad, but really that's how it is. Can we? Other methods, messages at times for drivers. There might be a place where drivers frequent or always stop. They might find a message there which might say, or which might be telling you to deviate to a certain route. Should that happen, the driver must query the office if those instructions are within that place, then there is something wrong. Then let's go to anti-hijacking instructions to drivers. Right. Do not, as a driver, or you tell the drivers, do not gossip in a cave about the load and its value, your schedule and destination, or the protective fittings on your vehicle. They must not tell them. Otherwise, they already know. Do not park. I'm telling the driver, not you. You will be telling him that don't park in a quiet country lay-by unless there is someone nearby who can help in case there is something. Use of guarded car parks is the most important, rather than leaving a truck near a lodge somewhere in the street. Notify police of the presence of your load if you are in doubt about the safety of where to park. If you are in doubt and obliged to stop at an accident, or by signals of some police officers, stay in the cab with the doors bolted. If offered to drive to the nearest police station, if they really try to push you out, or if they insist, right? Casual passengers and hitchhikers must not be carried. A little bit up. Waving and flashing lights to indicate false or any other action to induce you to stop should be viewed as suspect, or even a message is left at the truck cafe should be guarded. Right. Then we say, right, after control and measurement, there will be need to do performance evaluation, which involves analyzing. Should be analyzing, interpreting and determining the worth and quality of work done and results secured and the cause and deviations. Let's go down. Right, now we're talking of performance evaluation. Now we have had our performance records and so forth. Then we say, right, maybe at the end of the day, or not day, at the end of the week or month, whenever you do your performances. In fact, I said the purpose of the results is not to measure the accuracy of the system, but to evaluate and distinguish the rate at which the system can meet with full opinion of the subject matter. Right, then you say hijacking. On hijacking, when you evaluate yourself, you say, well, how did we do? System improved. Okay, it did improve. So analysis result, we said, right, reporting back to the station whenever the driver got conflicting messages, offloading helped. That's exactly what helped the situation. So proceed, it's okay. Weighbridge frauds. Well, we say it's not always like that, but we say maybe the system improved. Physical checking on vehicles did cut down on frauds. That was physical checking, right? Thirdly, we have got carelessness and damage to inventory. Well, it was more of the same, which means nothing much changed. So we say materials handling not utilized properly. Probably. We are not saying this is what happens, but we say probably because of that. So more control needed at depots, as most materials handling lie idly more times than used, right? Then we say product delivery time, system improved, right? Why? What made it improve? System improved as a result of effective coordination or coordinated practices and time management. So proceed, there's nothing to do about that. Then we say transport operating cost. Well, was it the same? Failure to get return loads resulted in vehicles running light. It's a cost. Then what do we do? Reorganize, move. More effort needs to be done to get return loads. Or, if you can, outsource on transport. Then let's go to the last point. Please note, I said please note, do not accept losses without investigation, even though this may not lead to a tangible conclusion. The fact that it is done may reveal system defects that can be corrected. It will cause those involved to reflect upon the possibility of personal error or carelessness, and it is likely to act as a deterrent to other intending thieves. I ended there because of the time. In fact, I had to, when I realized that we were 11 presenters, I didn't know I had to cut it by, I think I had to just cut. Some of the information you might find it hanging because I did cut and to make sure that I fit in. So, any questions, if there are any, or no questions, which means I never said anything. Honestly. Next time you'll not do it. Without questions.
You presented words.
No. It is in Blueo. I don't need, if you want to do another one in Blueo, I don't need any, I'm not looking for any cost to present anything to you. I like it. Because the reason why I like this is I didn't know when I talked to Mr. Gunde that he was going to succeed to do something like this. I didn't know. When you came to me and we talked about it, I've tried it myself business for years. It's only that I've retired, I'm no longer doing it, but not tired. I'm retired. Retired, remove RE. So I can do anything as long as it's logistics or as long as it's it is anything to do with supply chain management. I like it.
Itai, you've got a volunteer. Next time we have a presenter already. You just need a slot. He's willing to do it for us. So thank you and well done for looking for Mr. Bruce Mtengwa. Thank you so much, Mr. Mtengwa. That was a nice presentation. I'm sure we have learned quite a lot, ladies and gentlemen. In line with transport, warehousing, and logistics, he touched quite a lot of stuff in terms of wave bridges, transportation, logistics, in terms of warehousing, the risk, the fraud, how to mitigate them. I'm sure we will go and implement and take note of that. Before I call upon the next presenter, I only have 10 minutes for you, ladies and gentlemen, to just go outside, grab your pastry, grab your cup of tea, and then we can come and have our tea in here.